Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of T.N.T Garage and Performance, and also welcome to my kitchen. Now in today's video we're going to be hitting up part 2 of the Brute Farce kind of restoration, rehabilitation, whatever you want to call it. Now I was thinking of doing the body next, but actually we're going to focus on the interior first, build from the inside out. And as you can see, I've got a lot of the parts out of the truck and in the house because, well, we are in Wisconsin and it's going to snow later, so it's kind of chilly. So we got everything in here and we're going to attack fixing the seat, fixing the headliner, fixing the top of the center armrest, getting a cup holder, and everything like that. So let's get to it. All right, we're going to go ahead and get this seat out so we could recover it. Now, instead of pulling the whole seat, we could just pull the seat bottom. You see the 10 millimeter bolt there, one on the other side right there, and then there's two in the back. So we're going to use our air ratchet and get those off of there, and we'll probably pull the center the same way. Alright, so like I showed you, it's not too difficult to get the seat cushions out of your second gen Ram. It's 4 bolts in the bottom that just connect to the seat frame itself. My seat in particular is a power seat, but I imagine a manual seat is much the same. As far as how we're going to repair this, as you can see, this is broken down and this is raining foam all over the inside of my truck. I can't stand it. And the seat's kind of worn down towards the door where you pretty much have to have your wallet in your back left pocket to sit upright. So we're going to remedy that with a new seat foam and a new seat cover for the driver's side of the truck. As you can see, it's the, typical Dodge confetti pattern that they use for some unfathomable reason, and a new foam. So that'll fix our lean. This will fix our looks. Now, as far as quality, I don't know. I got both the cover and the foam off of Amazon, and I want to say it was around 80 or 90 bucks. Which, if you think about it this way, repairing your own seat is a hell of a lot cheaper than going on the Facebook Marketplace and trying to buy a set of used seats for a second gen Dodge. Now in my area, they're anywhere from $300 to $500 is a typical asking price that someone wants for a set of worn out Dodge seats. They may not be this bad, but they got the little tear because no one knows how to lift their hindquarters up over and set it into the middle of the seats. But they're usually not perfect, and it's a lot of money to buy them. So why do that when even if this isn't the best quality and you take care of it, even if you got to do it a couple of times, you're money ahead if you're doing both seat cushions, because this is the biggest, wear item in your truck. So let's start with this. Now, the nice thing with these more modern vehicles is we're not dealing with hog rings like, old square bodies, old Dodges, stuff like that. It's simply plastic clips that just wrap around. So let's bust them loose. You should be able to just kind of get a screwdriver in here and work it out. There we go. Just kind of get it peeled up. There. Got that, it just wraps over and clips. And we'll do the same on this one. Kind of use a screwdriver to pry it. And we'll push our foam in at the same time to help work it over. Go. There. Flip it around. We'll get these two guys off. There we go. There we go. And we should be able to peel our seat cover off of the frame and cushion. And then we'll get that forward one out of the way. Yeah, we're already raining material everywhere, which is fine. We'll just get the vacuum out. We're going to be making a much bigger mess as this goes. So, peel the Velcro that holds these. Get this seat cover out. And then this, well, that is hog ringed in, which, not a huge deal. And just peel our cushion away. And we should be able to get our clip out of the way. There we go. There's the seat frame. I suppose if you ran out of stuff to cook on, you could just steal one of these out of a second gen Ram, and there you go. You got yourself a half broiler plate. So you can see this thing is just munched. We're going to go ahead and get this out of the way. We got our second gen confetti here. Now, we'll start with our seat cushion. I'll grab my handy dandy knife, get it out of the package. There we go. Then, just layer in. Remembering which way it goes, of course. Get it down inside. There we go. Now, our new seat cover, which, that's one thing, they did not provide me with new hog rings to wrap this around. So, we're going to do the next best thing, and that's zip ties. Because in the center of the cushion here, there's a bar that's molded into the foam. And typically you take a hog ring, put it through there, and then on the inside of the cover, it's got this piece that goes down in. So what we'll do is we'll just punch 3 holes and we'll get some small zip ties and we'll zip tie that in there. That way it holds your actual cover where it belongs. It's not going to slide around on you. So give me a minute. I'm going to run out to the shop, grab some zip ties. All right, so we got 3 zip ties. I couldn't find my smaller ones, but these should do the trick. So now I'm going to take this center piece and we're just going to poke 3 holes in it. That should give us an approximate location there. There we go. Now, what we need to do, I'll flip this so you guys can kind of see it better. We got this bar here, so what I'm going to do, seeing as I do not have hog rings, so we're just going to run zip ties through that. And then we'll just kind of bury the end so we won't feel it when we sit. There we go. And now, orienting our fabric, we can go ahead and actually I'll flip it around, seeing as I got the zip ties facing that way. Try to do this so you guys can see it. So this is going to be our first step. And we're just going to start with getting our zip ties started in the slots I cut. There we go. That way they don't pop out. And there. Now that we got them started, I'm just going to go ahead and ram them down. There we go. Make sure we got it centered inside that channel there. Pull her tight. And pull her tight. Now I'll just go in there with a pair of snips, snip the tails off, and we can continue putting our fabric on. Okay, snip, snip. Now if we ever got to do this again, we ain't got to fight hog rings. We just go in there and snip it. So let's work our cushion down, or our cover over our cushion. Get it kind of nice and happy. There we go. So we'll just kind of leave the frame alone for now as we work everything over. Kind of make everything all happy. Drop my knife on the ground. There we go. Kind of get it laid out. So you can see we kind of got to shift it a little bit. But also too, I want to show you this before we get too far. There is Velcro down here that you run these down into it. So we're going to work that down as we pull everything over. Just kind of get everything in its channel that it belongs in. And there we go. Make everything nice and happy. Then work our other side in. Get that frame out of the way. Get our Velcro down in the channel. There we go. Kind of stretch everything. Now this will take some adjusting, some pulling, some tucking. Just work slowly around it. You don't want to reef on it. You don't want to wreck your material. Now we should be able to lay our frame in and start really working everything around. So we'll start with the front. There we go. side. It's going to take some sitting in to level it out, it looks like, but we should be fine once we get everything stretched and then just kind of work it out. There we go. Now this front one, as you can see, they kind of missed the mark here. We're going to have to trim that a little bit to clear our frame. So we'll just take a nibble out of it. There we go. A little more. We want to clear our bolt hole here. Okay, work around our back, which will probably be the hard one. Oh yeah. So just squish the foam. There we go. Kind of pull it down, work everything out. And seems like some of these wrinkles will come free as it goes. But once we get it in the truck and get some miles on it, with my Tuckus sitting there, she'll flatten out nicely. But we got her held in right here, and we got all our clips in, and I'll probably trim that a little more so we can bolt the seat down, not have an issue. But we got all our clips on, and we'll just kind of let everything work down and around and kind of work the wrinkles out. Now, as far as fit and all that, yeah, it's not perfect. It is Amazon. God knows what country it's come from. You can see the pattern just kind of drifts off this way instead of being straight with the rest of it. But it does look 10 times better, and it's probably going to be way more comfortable than what we had. And once we get it in the truck, ride around in it a bit, it'll probably, flatten out and just all around get better as we go. So that part is done. So the next thing is, we'll move on to our center console. Okay, so what do we got in store for the center console? Well, number one, any of you that have a second gen Dodge know your cup holders suck. Whether you have the dash mounted ones, above, below, or in my case, mine has a manual transmission center console that has absolutely terrible cup holders. This goes on the front of your jump seat to hold your cups. Now, one thing we got to fix is this elbow dent here. And again, going to Amazon for more high quality stuff, we are going to replace the cover of this, which we take the old one off and then get this new one on. Now, they offer a few different colors. They offer gray, beige, or black. Now, given that the cloth itself is more of a gray, I went with the gray instead of just straight black. I thought that would look weird if it was just black instead of charcoal. But let's figure out how to do this. I don't know how these come apart, so I'm just gonna poke and hope for a second, kind of see. Huh? If it's clipped in or what. Something fell out. Oh yeah, it's just a bunch of clips that hold our inner trim. So we're just gonna kind of carefully pry on this. Well, we got our inner trim out, but at what cost? We saved one plastic clip. Everything else is just, you know, typical this era Dodge quality as far as plastic goes. But that gets us to our fabric, and it's stapled in. So what we got to do, I suppose, is pull all the staples. Well, them staples are in there, which I imagine staples in plastic are definitely going to be in there. So what we'll do is we're just going to cut this. So I'll just take my razor and we're just going to cut the old armrest cover off. See if we could pull our piano pin out, or piano hinge pin. This might make it easier. We could pull the whole cover. Just pull your pin out. As you can tell, I'm discovering a lot of this as we go, but we're getting it done. So, there we go. You just pull it out of the channel, and we got a worn out old cover out of the way. Kind of get some of this stuff out of here. I'm not going to bother pulling all these staples out. That just sounds like a pain. So now, we'll set the foam off to the side. It does have a little bit of a divot there from elbow, but I didn't get a new foam. It just is what it is, I guess. So, put the new one on. Looks like we just run it in the same channel we pulled the old one out of. So we just kind of use 7 hands and run this in there. Kind of get it lined up where we think it goes. Our foam back on. And I suppose just work it over, I guess. Alright, so just kind of, yeah, stretch it. There we go. Actually, this looks like it'll work out pretty dang well. We just need to kind of jam it in around our console activation handle or opening or whatever you want to call it, which maybe if we trim it and tuck it in, I think will be our best bet. So you can only screw this up once, right? So we want to leave a little space. We don't want to go too far. my screwdriver? Because once we get that, we can work it in with a screwdriver kind of around there. But once this gets pulled down and happy, and we get it all smoothed out and hammered out, I think that's going to look a lot better. So I'm going to continue to work on this area right here. Got it pretty well jammed in. Now, I guess we could staple it down. I'd have to find one of my all I've got is like hammer staplers. So we could either try the old adhesive method, or we can find my stapler. So let me look out in the shop, see if I can't find a stapler that'll work. I found my stapler, and my staples aren't strong enough to, well, secure it. So we are going to try the glue method. Let's see if this does anything. You never know unless you try, I suppose. I mean, if I can get it to stick long enough to get a decent stapler, then we'll probably be alright. That might work, actually. There we go. Once we get this jammed in, these wrinkles should work their way out. And I think this looks pretty good. The gray is a little lighter, but not too bad. I really need to clean this. But as far as putting our inner trim back in with one clip, I don't know how well that's going to go. Yeah. So that's not going to stay. But you really don't need it. More of a beauty piece anyway. So I'll see if I can get one of those that's actually complete. Maybe get a new one. We still do have the little bit of an elbow divot here, but it does look a lot nicer. Now, let's see how this cup holder is supposed to go in. I'll probably just jam her right into place. I don't know if the lid will still close. Nope. Oh, that's a letdown. I suppose we could kind of grind it down to get the lid to latch. But, yeah, there's probably a way we could do this to get it to latch, whether we kind of trim the front of this down or go in here. But honestly, I think if we do away with this right here, I think is what's holding this up. Because it hits before everything else lines up. I think is what's screwing us. And we can't really space this latch down any because it's riveted in. So I don't know if we could adjust it up. But there we go. It does latch. I don't use the inside of my center console for much, so I'm not real worried about it. But that does look 10 times better than that. So let her set and stretch, and should be all nice and happy, and we'll have cup holders. So we got the seat the center armrests recovered, which I think that light gray doesn't look too bad. I mean, it's clearly not the same. But again, I didn't want to go with the straight black that they offered. Which, 6 of one, half dozen the other. We'll see how it looks once it's in the truck. This wasn't very expensive. I think this was maybe $20. So, you know, here's what it is. We'll get this out of the way. And now we'll clean up our mess. And it's time to get onto the headliner. Alright, now we're on to the fun project. And that is getting this headliner reupholstered. Now, you could probably make a pretty lengthy video out of just the times I've said, I've never done this before, and then go ahead and tackle it anyway. But, I did order some foam-backed black fabric. Now, I know I said I didn't want the center console to be black, and that's true because there's so much like lighter dark gray around the seats. But if there's one thing I cannot stand in most vehicles is when you have, when you have a dark interior and you have a light colored headliner. It just drives me insane because one, look how dirty it gets. You know, if you're a guy like me that works on stuff, you hop in your truck and you like grab something out of your sun visor, you're getting prints all over the front of the headliner. It just doesn't look good. Now, I went with black instead of, gray or something like that because I always like the darker color up above me anyway, regardless of how dirty it gets. Because in 1998, I've had two different Grand Cherokees. I had a Limited with the 318 in it. It was a charcoal interior with a light gray headliner. And then I had a 5.9 Limited, which was charcoal gray interior with a dark headliner. And it just made a world of difference of the inside of that Jeep. So, we've got this fabric, again, from Amazon. We're just going to set it off out of the way. And we are going to peel off this nasty, beaten, old fabric. Now, I know that a lot of times with this foam, if you try gluing to it, it's not going to stick real well. A lot of people will sand this foam off to get down to the cardboard backer. But I might chance it and see if we can't make an adhesive work. Because quite honestly, it's going to take a long time to get all this stuff off there. So we'll just peel our old material off, throw that in the trash. At least the previous owner was nice enough to put staples in the front. So we're going to go ahead and get them out of there. So, come on. There we go. We don't want staples impeding our progress here. There we go. Now what I am going to do, because yeah, even if I go at it with my fingernail, I can't really scrape it off. So, I guess the good thing is, since it's not already just coming off the headliner, we might have some success in laying something over this. We do have a couple scars in it, but I'm thinking that foam backing will definitely help cover some of that up. So, I'm going to grab the vacuum, and we're just going to go over this and suck all the nasty stuff up off of it. And then we'll begin to lay out our fabric and our adhesive. I'll have to throw some stuff on the table and around it to keep our adhesive from getting absolutely everywhere. But then, probably going to start from the front because that's less of a complex curve, and we'll move to the back. So let me grab the vacuum. start from this side and we will fold it back. We'll hit it with some glue and then we'll flip it the other way and work our way down the headliner. So, shake the can. Okay. Phew, I had to sneeze. Put some other stuff here to protect the table. All right, so let's see if we could lay it out nicely. Kind of work and stretch it. Go. Kind of work it in the recesses for our visors. There we go. You know, I think I might be able to do this. So, let's carefully continue. There we go. That's about where our adhesive line is. So now, applying even pressure on it. That way we're not putting handprints or anything in it. So we're going to let this set before I flip it over and we start cutting all the holes and of course wrapping everything around. Now the factory headliner used to just come to the edge and it'd just be glued there. So I think I'm actually going to wrap it around and glue it on the top. I think that'll turn out a much longer lasting headliner. So there we go. Let's let that dry before we get to trimming. Alright, so this has got a chance to tack up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around the edges and we're just going to spray some glue in there, get it down, and then we're going to trim the sides. And then after we trim the sides, I'm going to go in and open up all of our holes. But let's start with first things first. So let's kind of get the glue in. Just kind of get that settled out where we got it. nice and smooth up to the edge. Now the thing about the edges of this headliner is it's all going to be covered. In the rear of the truck, it's covered by the interior trim panels, and then around the doors, it's got the weather seal that kind of folds over the edge. So that's why we're just going to trim it right to the edge. You know, just kind of making sure we got everything real nice and kosher all the way to the edge. And then we can trim it. So let's go ahead. So we've got the back of our headliner all set up. I've got it in the trough there, so this is not covered by anything. This just goes up to the back window. So folding it over will, one, prevent it from coming apart and drooping like the original one did, and it just will look better. So let's flip it around. And let's work on the front. There we go. Grab my right-handed scissors, even though I'm left-handed, and we're gonna just trim out this stuff over here. Got to punch all our holes. So what I'm probably going to do is we're going to grab a screwdriver, a torch, and a knife. So hold on. Okay, I'm going to punch our holes because I don't want to rip the fabric or anything like that. We're just going to do the old heat up a punch with a torch, and we're just going to stick it through like our Christmas tree clip holes, our oh shit handle holes, and our sun visor holes. There's one. Tell you one thing, you don't want to breathe that in. Wow. A little more heat. Make sure we're not lighting it aflame when we do that. Move it to the back here. We've got everything glued. We've got our holes made. Other than a little bit of a rough cut around our center console, we've got all our holes for the things that are going to have to go through this into the roof. We got dome light, center console, both the sun visors, we've got the oh shit handle, we've got the coat handle or coat hangers in the back, and our 4 push pin clips. So I am pretty happy with how this has turned out so far. And once we get it in the truck, which will be tomorrow, it's about 9 o'clock at night and it's currently snowing. I don't want to put any of the cars outside right now to pull the truck in to do this, but I am really digging how well this laid out. Now, I did order a new overhead console. That should be here tomorrow as well. And we're going to color match it to this black headliner. And this material is a more modern headliner material as opposed to just the weird cloth that came on it originally. And I'll bring a sample of it up here. Hopefully you guys can see this. So you could see it's more of a weave texture like a lot of modern vehicles use. So I think that'll look really nice up in the roof of the Ram. And yeah, I can't wait to get it in, see how it looks. But that's tomorrow's problem. Well, we got some work done this morning. I really didn't get time to record this because there's really no room to set up or get good light in here. But the headliner is in, which basically just the reverse of me taking it out in the last video. So we got it in. We've got our fabric tucked up behind the weather seal. We got this A-pillar trim on. We got the light in. I actually painted that black, the light housing, so it doesn't stick out. And we got black push pins to hold the headliner up. They were gray originally with the gray headliner. These are just Ford interior clips, the push pins. The only thing that's gray in here are the coat hangers because they're a kind of jam in and then push it in. It'd be real hard to paint that and have it stay. So those will stay gray, whatever. And I got one of the visors up. So I'll show you what I'm doing there to kind of, I don't want like a bunch of gray up here and looking weird. So we'll go over and check out what I'm doing. All right, into the mess here. Got the slat out because we were tinkering with that earlier. But the grab handle on the passenger side we got dyed. We're just using this vinyl and fabric duplicolor stuff, just a satin black. And we got our visor dyed. I've got 3 coats on this and should be fine. I went ahead and just went right over the warning label for the airbags because I like to live dangerously. So, you know, we don't need that warning. Kind of makes you wish you could just go around some other people's lives in the world and just paint over their warning stickers and, you know, let nature sort it out. But that's looking pretty good. Those are looking good. We're going to let them dry and we'll get them stuck in the truck. And I'm still waiting on the center console. This busted old unit. What I did in the meantime, and I'll show you guys this when we get the new one, is we took the trip computer and its lens out because we're going to have to transfer it into the new one. And I'll show you more on that when it shows up Amazon. So once that gets here, we can go ahead and get the new one disassembled and dye it the same way that we're doing the other things. Ooh, I got to do this one yet. So I'm going to keep working on this. And thankfully, even though it snowed last night and it's not that warm out today, I decided to go get a portable summer maker here. And 140,000 BTUs ought to cover it, a diesel-powered Fury. Because winter sucks when you're working in the shop and you're freezing and the concrete's cold. And this thing, it's keeping it at 60, which was actually a little warm. So I turned it down to 55. Automatic thermostat, all that. So, I mean, it works pretty good. Plus, it's a lot easier to go get diesel than trade in LP cylinders all the time. So, Yeah, let's keep rolling. All right, so we're finally on to doing our new overhead console. Now this is, again, a unit off of Amazon. I think we're starting a trend here. But this is LED light equipped, just a basic overhead console. As you can see, this one had trip computer in it. So we need to set this up to take said trip computer. So where's my tiny, there it is. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull this screw out here to get that blank panel out of the way, which probably going to need a bigger screwdriver, because there we go. We'll pull that screw out. And this panel ought to pull out of here. So there's tabs on the back. We will try not to break it. A little stiffer on this one than the plastic was on the other one. So there. So there we go. We got our blank out. And now this one can sit in there like so. So clip in. There we go. Got our new piece in there. And now as far as setting this up, this is set up for a base truck that does not have a trip computer. So what we're going to have to do is we are going to have to cut and splice some wires. So basically, we're going to eliminate the lights from this harness here. Once I find my pair of dikes, there they are. So we are going to clip out, we've got pink, black, and yellow. So we're going to clip those. Pink, which goes to the bulb. Yep, so pink is going to be our orange on this one. So there we go. And we'll cut our black and our yellow. So I'm going to grab some heat shrink to insulate these, because what I'm going to do is I'm not going to put connectors on them right now because I want to tie it all together and see if it works. So we'll get our orange wire set up. We'll get a piece of heat shrink. And we'll just do the old, you know, installing a stereo in your 86 G van wrap wires here. Well, now that the flamethrower is off, my back's not on fire anymore. We've got these tied in to where I think they should go, given color discrepancy, but should be fine. So we got it temporarily locked in, so when we get this set up and in the truck, we can plug it in and see if it works, and then go back and do it the right way. If anyone knows me, that's absolutely not going to happen. If it works, it's in there forever. So we have to prep this. Once I find the screwdriver I was just using a minute ago. That's not it. Where'd you go? That's also not it. Anyway, we'll use this broken one that I have sitting here. Oh, there it is. I found it. We are going to take the actual light assembly out of it so we don't have to mask anything off, which will make our lives easier. Which, saying that, I probably shouldn't have popped that screen in, but I like doing things a lot just to make sure I'm good at them. So 4 screws, it's all that holds this light assembly in. It also holds the spring for your sunglass holder door. There we go. Got our 4 screws out. And now we can set our light assembly and everything off to the side. We're going to pop that guy back out. And we are going to, well, try to carefully remove these lenses. I don't want to break these. It's probably smarter than I am. So, now we could prep this, get ready for paint. Alright, so we're just going to give this a light scuff to make the paint stick. And then we'll go over to our professional spray booth, aka a box behind the torpedo heater. And we'll give this a couple coats of that vinyl and plastic or whatever paint. Actually, on this, I do have some Rust-Oleum plastic paint. I might use that on this. It turned out really good on some of the other plastic parts that I did for this, so that might be the way we go here. Well, we'll wipe this off, and then we'll get over and we'll give her a spritz. Well, all right, it is time to assemble the overhead center console to go into Brute Farce. Now, this is the one that came out of the truck. This is the one that's all beat up. This latch is broken, and it's just generally dingy and kind of gross. So, we're going to do away with that, and our paint had set up on the new one I ordered, and that looks a lot better. There's one fisheye and a couple pieces of dust, but when you're painting in a garage with a torpedo heater going, this turned out pretty good. I let it cure in the house overnight just because, you know, it's warm in there all night. So this is ready to assemble, and this is going to look really good in the truck. So we're going to get this out of the way, and we're going to go ahead and put a cloth down after you paint something so you don't scratch it. Now we can throw our lenses back in. There we go. Now we can flip it over and install our overhead lights and our trip computer that came. Well, the trip computer came out of the original one, as you guys saw yesterday. And this is the one that came with this console with LED lights and, you know, all the good stuff. So, this drops in like that, because the springs on the back side of the lights here go towards your sunglass holder. So, just work that down in. And we'll throw our screws in. Help if we grab the right screwdriver. There we go. get these run down in. I decided to go get an entire rack of screwdrivers because, well, I'm not really good at keeping track of them. Usually they wind up strewn throughout the shop, in one of the project vehicles, in one of the vehicles I drive, in the semi, in the house. Some are in my storage shed, some are in the shed out back. Some are probably in the yard somewhere. So it's one tool I can never actually find all of after I'm done with a project. And thankfully there's a Harbor Freight a couple miles away from me. So, you know, spend $30, just buy a whole new set. And then eventually lose those over time. And then repeat the cycle. So one day, when I'm dead and gone, someone's going to stumble across a vast ocean of wealth of all my screwdrivers that I've bought over the years. And, you know, be set for life. Because I've got probably every different brand of screwdriver you can imagine. I've got Snap-on screwdrivers and Mac tool screwdrivers from my days as, you know, an actual technician. And I've got, you know, the old plastic Craftsman ones. I've got comfort grip ones, like everything. I've got them all. Literally every screwdriver ever made is somewhere in my bubble around me. My bubble's not real small. It extends about 5 miles. So I know there's screwdrivers within that whole thing. But we have some to work with now until I inevitably misplace them. Same thing with pliers too. Now, we got that in. We could put our trip computer in after we put the screen in. So, I set that over here. All right. Flip everything over. I already got fingerprints all over this thing. Now, I got this in there yesterday. It was kind of a pain, but there we go. There. We got our screen for a trip computer. Now we can go ahead and put the actual display and control in. Be at least 10% smarter than the object you're trying to operate. We got the security light that's got to poke through. Get in there. There we go. At 3 screws, hold that guy in. Of course, we're making threads with the 2 screws that actually hold the trip computer in, because, well, like I said, this console didn't come with it because it's just a cheap console off Amazon. So there. That looks pretty good, don't you think? Give it a white. We've got a nice black overhead console with all the original stuff the truck came with. Those should work. Now let's go over and throw it in the truck. All right. It's time to finish this interior. So, get our plug in. Oh, look at that. So my wiring worked. Now, we're just gonna ease this guy up in. Sit in the middle to do this, because this headliner's a lot thicker now, so I'm gonna have to really jam on this. Make sure we're hitting our holes. I might need to kind of wiggle the wiring around inside of it to get it so she'll drop in. Okay. There it is. There. That looks, let me turn the lights off. I dig that. I actually have functioning reading lamps now. That is pretty cool. Now I did put just a Sylvania Silver Star bulb in my regular headliner light back here, which I might change that to LED. But you know how much they want for what, a 922 bulb and LED? It's like 27 bucks for two of them. So no, not right now. I know that's saying something because I spent all this money on the interior, but I pick and choose how to spend not so wisely in odd ways. Now, let's see if the trip computer fires up. Yep. We're good. Nice. Well, the next thing to do is we need to wipe down the interior, we need to vacuum it out, and then I'll show you guys the finished product. All right, now we can get our first look at the interior completed. So you guys see the lights and everything. That black console looks great. We dyed our sun visors. I dyed the grab handle. I didn't do the coat hooks just because they're a multi-piece thing. Like I said before, just be a pain maybe down the road. But we got the bezel for the dome light black, and everything looks pretty good in there. Now, the center console, that's done. I don't mind the light gray on the lid. It matches the seats pretty good instead of being that more of a charcoal like this. Like I said, they only offered this, beige, or black. I don't think black would look that good down here when all the black's up there. The cup holder is a game changer for me because you just drop your phone right in there. It ain't gonna go anywhere. I drove around with it. My phone doesn't fall out. Cup holders right there. That's awfully nice instead of reaching down and all that. Now, the seat. Couple of thoughts on the seat. One, this new foam is incredibly comfortable. It's definitely way better to sit in this truck. The seat cover, for the money, not bad. But you could see that it's not an exact match to the factory upholstery. Of course, this needs to be cleaned, but it's never going to get this bright. So with some wear and stuff, this will probably be fine. It seems to fit okay over here. This side's a little loosey-goosey because there's too much fabric, so you don't get a real tight pull on the clips. And that just might be a run of, some of them fit great, some don't. There's no quality control with aftermarket stuff like this that you get on Amazon, but for the money, I think it was 70 bucks for the cushion and the cover. And the nice thing is we're not going to be raining foam down here anymore because of this seat being destroyed. So for that value alone, that I'm very happy with. Just we'll get some wear on it and we'll shampoo the seats in the truck, see if we can't bring everything back around. Other things in the truck, I did mount the CB radio there, and we'll jump up in. Don't pull on your steering wheel, get in the truck. I do that so I don't wear the seat out. But anyway, so this truck being a manual transmission cab originally, I'm just leaving that there because, well, there's a hole in the floor covered with a license plate and a big hole in the carpet, so that's going to stay. And it's a good, receptacle for my sunglasses, stuff like that, or my headset. But the radio is mounted here, and the nice thing is I could still access the pocket right there. So I need to finish installing that. And as you guys could probably tell, there's blue lights on the floor. Why did I do a 17-year-old thing like put blue lights on the floor? Well, number one, in my big truck, that the interior's red footwell lights, red lights up top. I like having a little ambient light in the cab with me. It helps keep my eyes focused. Red is much better than blue for that. And these are pretty intense. I like it. It's a little bright at night. It's definitely not awful, but I'll probably get some VHT nightshade and just tint those penny lights a little bit, because that's all they are. They're just blue LED penny lights. So I'll tint them to kind of knock the intensity down, and it'll be perfect. So that is everything going on so far, and I'm just really digging that black console. That looks good. So we'll get this thing out in the daylight so you guys can really see the interior of this truck. It's really hard with all the lights and the glare and all that, but we'll get it outside. We'll do a final look at the interior as it stands, and we'll go from there. All right, now that we're in the daylight, we can really see the interior of this truck, and look at that headliner. I am super stoked with how that turned out. It fits everywhere really nicely. The contours are all right, and it just looks so much better with a black headliner than the light gray that Dodge used originally. I do have to pull this down and touch it up. These soak up dye really fast. You got to put a lot of coats on them. But one thing I did that I'm happy about was folding this material over the edge of the headliner and getting it up in, so it doesn't have the chance to delaminate and start coming down. And that console looks really good in there. The dome light, everything. This whole interior just looks so much better than it did before. So that I'm pretty happy with. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I can't wait to go to work and actually ride in this truck now that the interior is done. Well, there we go, guys. The main overhaul of the interior of Brute Farce is done. It is so nice to, one, have the headliner back in it, and also have a headliner that's not sagging and dropping foam off of the backing board. That makes a huge difference to the interior comfort of this truck. Also, this seat, just so much more comfortable to sit in. I'm not a real heavy guy, so I don't need a firmer foam. This is a little on the softer side as opposed to the factory foam, so be aware of that. And just everything else laid out in here, having a cup holder, having a nice armrest that's not ripped, just makes a huge difference in your work vehicle, daily driver, stuff like that. Now, remember, I've got, $200 into this interior. That's it. The headliner fabric, the cushion and cover, the center console cover, the armrest, all of that. Plus, I probably spent another $40 on materials between some dye for the stuff that wasn't black that I wanted to be black and the adhesive. So at most, I've got $250 into the interior of this truck, and it completely changed the inside of the truck. I'm much happier with it now. So I'll go ahead and put the links to the products I bought down in the description. So if you guys want to take, a little bit of a gamble on some Amazon things to make your second gen Ram nicer, at least 98.5 up, and I'm sure they make the seats and everything for the 94 to 97, 98. So that is where you can find all that stuff down in the description below. And if you like this video, don't forget to, like and subscribe. Go ahead and share this video with your second gen buddies and see if, if they've got a clapped out Dodge Ram. Be like, hey man, it's a couple $100. Make your junk nice. So go ahead and do all that. Hit the little bell icon in the corner so you know when new videos are coming out, because the next video coming out on this truck, we're going to address, finally, the body. I thought I was going to do it this video, but I wanted to go ahead and do the interior first, because this is the part that I'm, interacting with the most. So, there we go. Go ahead and check out the rest of the playlist on Brute Farce and how far this truck has come. And, well, until next time, remember, if it ain't broke, fix it till it is. We'll see you soon.